Crosswalks. Crosswalks. How do they have so many pictures of crosswalks? Crosswalks. I've done 50 of these and haven't seen the same ones. Traffic lights. Crosswalks. Skip. Bicycles. I can do this. I can do bicycles. Alright, I gotta move our NOFODcast image. I guess that's our best way to go is... Can you see us live yet?
Yeah, it popped
Alright,
up.
I moved the logo over to the middle. There we go. Alright, we're signed in everything finally. Sucks. I mean, I don't know how to do a two-man, so if you got another idea on how to set that up. We haven't done that one.
No, we have not.
Wait, was Cesar and I doing that?
Getting some... What?
Recording the latest episode live. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Beautiful. Twitch says 133 though for some ungodly reason. Thank you, Twitch. Nothing ever works.
Always does.
Nothing ever works.
Yeah, that looks fine.
I need to do my other earphones. I don't have them. Man, you should have seen this PS3 before I started cleaning it. The coworker that we never really discussed off air. It was dusty, like bad dusty. Alright, I got some earbuds. We're good.
Jesus.
Was it bad? I've got a shock mount. You shouldn't hear anything. Alright.
You touched something.
I'm going on mute.
I heard a clink.
Alright, so it's me and you. Even though we're live, it's Alright, sir, it's me and you. Even though we're live, some of the inside baseball, you know, we're going to have to carry it. It's a little bit different from three people. You can't really doze off. Or it'll be a monologue.
Yeah.
4 score and...
No, you always say it when it's just you and Cesar, just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
It can be an adventure. Alright, I'm going to try to reposition us where we're... I don't want us to be too much, though. I kind of wish I could box out part of your frame, like... There's probably a way to do it. Like where you're not centralized.
Yeah.
I'll move myself that way. Nah, I think it was pretty good before. Did you see how we looked before?
Yeah, it
You
looked
thought
fine.
it was okay?
Yeah.
Our main hits come from audio, so... This is just another avenue. Another level of engagement.
Oh man, look at that big old shiny console in the back.
The PlayStation of the Trace. So this ended up being a backwards compatible 80 gig, and this is a software compatible one.
Oh wow.
So I did a little bit more research. I cleaned it out really good. I did a little bit more research on it. He was trying to play Last of Us. And there was actually even a petition at one point after Last of Us came out where people were pleading for a patch because it was shutting down fat PS3s. So I'm thinking, I've cleaned it out really good. I didn't do new thermal paste or anything like that. I told him, don't play Last of Us on this machine. We'll see how it does for him.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I never had an issue with it.
You had a fat PS3?
Like I said, I got the original 60 gig.
And Last of Us never did anything to your system?
No.
Wow.
It worked perfectly. I played it several times on there.
Did the fans get crazy?
No, not really. I mean, no more than usual. Yeah.
Still levitating. Let me check. All right, I'm doing a recording just to give us an audio sample.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see. You know, we made that change on you and I's. That input. Let's see if it changed anything. 809. This is it. No, I hear you perfectly. Yeah, we're good. Yep. We just got to remember you both can't have audio inputs when we have 3 people on here. That's all it was.
Alrighty.
Troubleshooting galore. All right, there's 2 of us. Welcome to. I'm one of them. Hopefully Cesar is one of the 2. Are you one of the 2, sir?
I'm one of the 2.
No, glorious. We got our usual 2 of 3. Now we might as well get started. Do you want to get started, or do you want to shoot the shit some more?
It don't matter. You still picking up both of your PS5s?
If they make it to me, maybe that's something we discuss on the air.
Oh, you ordered it online.
So I'm thinking if I put a PS2 on top of that system, in the next 2 days,
it'll be close.
That'll be my best chance of getting to a PS5.
And you'll be close to the size as long as you stack them up long ways.
Have you seen how it's like the One X is like a perfect GameCube stand? You could just plop a GameCube right on top of it. Have you seen that? It never gets old, man. Every time I see it, somebody's like, finally a perfect GameCube stand. They have a One X stacked up with the GameCube like right on top of it. I guess it's the exact dimensions or something. Now let's get going. This is good stuff. This is stuff we always leave behind. Where are we at? Skype. There's 2 of us here.
You see all the news stories I put on there? You at least know of them?
I saw the 4. Did you add to the 4?
Yeah.
Oh, God. How many more?
Not too many more.
How many more? It didn't refresh them for me, sir.
Should be...
Holy shit.
7?
Okay, that's only 3 more. That's fine. How many more?
And those, most of these are really, really quick stories,
too.
It's
no deep dives. We're right at console launches. There's not a whole lot of news. You put some great stuff in here, though. How many more? Rebecca from GameIndustry.biz. She's a senior staff writer. I thought GameIndustry.biz was just like press releases.
Oh.
Not tonight, apparently.
Not tonight, baby.
Right, I've already started recording on Skype. It's only a minute in. Let's just give it a little leeway so I know what's what, and then I'll cut that out and move it to the back.
Gotcha.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 134 of the NOFODcast. There's 2 of us tonight, but we are your Southeast premier video game podcast and Gulf Coast. We just had a recent update from the Gulf Coast time zone. They are an hour behind, I think, or maybe like 30 minutes time zone wise, but we're still the number 1 there. The rankings are in, the polls are in, no ballots are being counted there. Tonight, your news are Sega's selling its arcade business, but wants more Atlas games on PC. That was an addition. You're going to have to pull up that bit. M.2 SSD support on PS5 has been delayed. Mass Effect Legendary Edition announced. What is that? How to get Google Stadia kit for free. I may have done this. Game Pass adds another perk. Xbox Series X has some hiccups, as all launch consoles do. And Take-Two Interactive is set to buy noted racing industry veterans, Codemasters. I'm Richard Bergman, joined tonight by Brant McKee.
Hello, sir.
Cesar Concepcion is not with us tonight. He could not make it. Illness befell him. He looked at his PS5 tracking and was not sure if he was going to be able to get one tomorrow or even the next day or even the next day, and he's very unsure of this, and it is making him queasy. We'll go with that. I'm in the same boat. There's a lot of people on Twitter and Reddit and everywhere else saying those that have ordered from Walmart, like I have, they have no shipping confirmation. It's like Walmart, it just says preparing your order, expected date Thursday, November 12th. I'm like, okay, you haven't even shipped it or given me a tracking number. I don't think it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, people are still getting those emails about shipping delays. Yep. So who knows, by tomorrow you may get a shipping delay email.
It's to be expected, or I might get a delivery confirmation. I'm just like, okay, fine, I guess it's in front of my garage somewhere. There's no telling. There's other more important things going on right now. Console delay, shipping-wise, is not the end of the world for sure. Yeah. Did you have any second thoughts about your next-gen plans? Did you are you having any FOMO or anything kicking in?
No. I mean, I keep asking you about your consoles because I know you're getting two. I don't know if the second one is spoken for.
It's not.
Not really. But it may not even be existent at this point.
It's a backup, so it's like, yeah, I can't promise you my backup. I don't even know if my primary's coming in.
So
that's true.
I don't know. The off chance you get to, I'm still considering
right.
it, but I'm not one of these diehard people that are gonna try to get them online Black Friday
right.
because they announced that most retailers will only be online only pre-orders, which genius, guys. I'm sure people aren't going to have their bots ready to go buying them
right.
up to set them up
Thanks
on
for
eBay
announcing that
again.
So they can program them 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I've seen so far is GameStop's plan to have 2 of each console in stock for Black Friday. 2.
That might be fun to wait for, but only, this year is different from every other year. You have to keep people away from you. Like, normally this would have been fun. Like, I met a friend of the show and co-launcher Michael McLeod. I met him in line to pre-order the Switch. I'd never met this guy before. He ends up being, close friend of mine. He helped us launch the show, all that kind of stuff. And I just can't even imagine that now. Like, he and I were just face-to-face talking to each other about our excitement for this new Nintendo console. So I can't even imagine how that would go now, if you're going to be set up, there's 2, like, get away from me. Go over there. Go 2 steps to the left. Stand in front of that Moe's or that Hallmark store or whatever that GameStop store is next to. Dollar Tree.
If Black Fridays of the past are any indication, I'm sure once it happens, because I think it looks like most places are going to be closed Thanksgiving and they open Friday. Right. Which is nice. That's a novel idea. Whoever thought to be closed on Thanksgiving?
It only took a worldwide pandemic to make the major retailers come to their senses. I will admit, when I was in my retail days, it was not the chaos that it is now. Like, we opened early, but it was like a 2-hour open, and I had to work late the night before, and I had to be there early the next day. But it wasn't the overnight, open at midnight, crazy madness that it is now. So that has definitely taken off.
Within the past few years, it's gotten worse and worse. And I mean, you see people getting in fights over things like towels and things. I mean, not to mention electronics.
Wait, where are the towels on sale at? Brent, do you know where some towels are at? Brent, where's those towels? I'm gonna stay in it. I'll throw some bows for some towels now.
So I'm sure once people see these doorbuster sales, it's gonna be no holds bar, and not even Corona's gonna hold them back.
Which sucks, man. We're in a surge of cases right now. Like, not to dive into, this is kind of my escape from reality, even though we're not face to face. Like, look, I have a podcast table behind me. We should all be sitting around this discussing stuff together. So even at that, this is my break from the madness. And we have this surge in cases at the moment. I just can't even imagine getting out there like we always do. We always load up a car and go find random stuff. Like, last year was the price glitch on Diablo on Switch. We all got it for like $15, but we had to go to 3 different Walmarts to find it, and it just that's what it turns into for us, And the missus always wants to set a pot and pans. Like, we end up going through those like annually, but we already got that this year, so, and we're never gonna have to get a set of pans again. So Is there anything that you think you're after? Have you looked at any of the sales or anything? And is there anything? It's mostly going to be online anyway, so.
Yeah, I looked at I've looked some of the sales are starting to come through. I
Yeah.
figure maybe next week will be the week to put some of those flyers in our news, and we'll just kind of go through and hit some
Yeah.
highlights that we're interested in. And it's a good thing I didn't put it in since I wasn't feeling
That's a good
well.
idea. That'd be a good rundown. Kind of map out what people might be after.
Yeah, but I mean, there's I think it was Target is having like buy two get one, and they're even including, at least the flyer I saw included Godfall for
Yeah, it
PS5.
was non-first
So
party PS5 games. So no Spider-Man,
mhm.
no Demon Souls, no Sackboy, and the Sackboy reviews are looking pretty good. I'm like, I might give me
Oh
some
yeah,
Sackboy now.
but still, I mean, you could mix and match. I mean, you could get you uh Sackboy and a couple other things, and then you still get you a game for free.
That's
So
true.
and there's other places. I mean, GameStop's got some decent deals, but we can save that for
Yeah,
later.
that'll be a good bit of the show because I don't think it'll. Next week will probably be impressions of next gen and those sales. I think news is we're gonna hit that part of the year that just news is dropping off. But I mean, you've
Yeah.
been listening since the beginning. Our games played is gonna go up too as we seep into the holidays here because I know I start doing more couch co-op. Russell's gonna be over here this next weekend, so I know we're gonna get into something. So that'll definitely
Mhm.
start offsetting.
Spider-Man's coming tomorrow, so I'll be talking about that next
You're
week.
getting Miles Morales. He's
Oh yeah.
excited. Reviews are good,
Oh
man. They
yeah.
say it's great.
Reviews are
Yeah.
very good.
All right, I have to. Before we go on anymore, I wore this. I wore this for a reason. You know the date 11/11/11, right? Is it Is it an
Yes.
important date for you as well?
Probably not as important, but it is a
Oh,
very, very important date.
I just hooked up, and I'm going to talk about it later on. But I just hooked up my PlayStation VR again since we moved and all that, and I've got Skyrim VR, and I'm glancing over like. And then just today, I saw a video comparing loading times on PS5 versus the PS4, and it was like 15 seconds, and I'm like, okay, all
Oh
right,
my
they're talking
gosh.
me, they're talking me into it. I'll boot it up on that. Oh man, I meant to bring it down here. I got my camera adapter today. If you file your, do you guys have PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
Okay. If you go on, I'll send you this link, or if we had show notes, we'd put it in the show notes again. But you
Hmm.
register your old PSVR, and they will send you an adapter that turns that little proprietary plug into just a USB port for your PS5. So your headset will be backwards compatible.
Awesome.
Forwards compatible? Backwards compatible. So very important for your PSVR listeners out there. I know friend of the show Derek is one. I know Michael had one at one point, and I know Russell has one as well. And it's free. They'll just ship it to you. And I got mine today. So,
Yeah.
what are you guys playing VR? I gotta know now. Before we get into news, what did y'all really dive into?
I didn't get a whole lot in
Yeah.
VR. When it first came out, I got it launch.
Okay,
I
you were
got
an
Arkham.
early adopter.
Oh yeah, I was early adopter. I got the Arkham VR. I got the of course the demo disc. Um, oh gosh, what was it? The I can't even remember what the Rush of
Yeah.
Blood.
Oh, that's
Um,
probably the best VR game that I've played so far.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that one's
It's a good
great.
showcase, and you
That
just
one's
hand
great.
people. Because when I first started, like when I would have people over to experience it and things like that, because that was a social thing for me. That was one of the ones to introduce them to, because it's you sit somebody down and then you put the headset on them, and then they're blinded from the world. So you kind of have to
Mhm.
proctor the experience and give them the move controllers. But once you've set them up and given them those move controllers, it's just self-explanatory from there from until
Yeah.
dawn. So I'm with you on that one. That's a hell of an experience.
And other than that, I mean, it's a handful of things here and there. The Spider-Man VR, I think, was
It was free. I
free.
played through that too.
Um, that one's for a free VR. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
It was just brief.
And yeah, it's very, very brief. I wanted to get Iron Man, and I know Astrobot's Adventure is up there. I
It's
need to.
next for me.
That
So if you want to
is
play, if you want to
probably
play through it the next week or so, I'm going to be launching that.
Spider-Man's
Oh,
going
it's
to be
gonna
on the
get you.
list, but but I have heard that the story isn't super
Yeah.
long, so I might be able to get through it relatively quickly, just depending on how busy the
Do
week
you have
is.
Astrobot yet? It's
Uh-uh.
$10 right now digital, and I think it's gonna be
Oh,
15ish Black Friday physical. But I know you're like me, so you prefer the physical. But I have the physical that I've never opened, so I may just go ahead and get the $10 digital. But that's it's on
gotcha.
sale right now. I'm thinking about jumping into it, especially with it seems like as things are lining up, Astrobot or Astro's Playroom. I think that's going to be my sole PS5 launch game that I'm going to be playing. That or like God of War or something. I might pop in something, just to see how it plays on the new console, or finally watch
Hmm.
Kingsglaive and then fire up Final Fantasy 15 and see what that's like. Did you play 15 at all?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Heard good things
Yeah,
though.
mixed bag, but it seems like a lot of the people that were negative on it, it was early on, and they fixed everything after that. And Michael
Yeah.
made sure to point out, watch the movie first, then you get some of the backstory and things like that. So listen, we got to dip back into Skyrim before we go to news. You don't have the Skyrim like you have it started 18 profiles and across 8 different
Oh no
systems and
no.
all that
I've
stuff.
I've got gosh, I've had Skyrim several different platforms. Um I've played it several different
Yeah,
times.
I've still never
It's
beat
one
it.
of
I'm
those
not.
where
I'm not
you
saying that I've
me
beat it. It's just I've lost
no.
so many hours into it.
Yeah, that's one of those games you start playing it, you get lost, and then something else comes
It's
out
so
and you
much fun to get lost in that game, though.
uh
It's so easy to just to find a
it's
random
very
dungeon and
easy.
you're just in this dungeon. God, what a game!
You start gosh, you pop it in, you start playing it, and it's easy for the hours to just
It
melt
is.
away. It's so
It
easy.
is. Then it came out on Switch, and I was like, oh my God, this is just the best thing ever.
Yes.
Oh,
When they showed it on that launch of the Switch, it was just mind
and
blowing.
remember they denied it forever. They were like, that's just a proof of concept.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's just we have nothing to announce at this time. It's like you fucking showed us Skyrim portable. you got to give us some details on this. But I'm sure they were ironing out like the Link costume from Breath of the Wild, and was it like
Yeah.
Ganondorf's shield and the cuckoo could follow you around or something like that.
And now you can go in your backyard and play Skyrim on a rock or something. I mean, it's on
The way God
everything.
intended. Yeah, it's built into the rock. It runs natively on the rock. And on the actual rock, Dwayne Johnson. He comes with Skyrim
Yep.
pre-installed. Yep, 11, 11, 11. I can't believe that game is 9 years old. One more thing on Skyrim. I could make a whole episode on Skyrim. I love that game.
The Skyrim
It could be the
podcast.
Skyrim podcast. This was so it's 9 years ago, right? And I love games the way we can look back on them and like remember where we were, what we were doing, things like that. And I had asked for this game. This was I had a new. She wasn't even my mother-in-law yet. This was my girlfriend's mom. And for myself and my other future brother-in-law, she would get us a game every Christmas. And I was not as heavy into games as I am now, but I still like. I think I was burning through Uncharted 3 at the time. But she was like, what game do you want coming out?" And it's like, it's got to be Skyrim. That's like the biggest game ever. And as this launch hype build, this is for Christmas, by the way. As this launch hype builds up, it comes out 11/11. I know I have to wait a month and a half almost for the game, and it was excruciating. I'm like, why would I do this to myself? I can't. And it was like I'm a year into the relationship with the girl. Do I want to tell the maybe future mother-in-law like I bought the game? I had to get the game. You got to take the one you maybe got me back. I'm pretty sure you got it. I couldn't. I couldn't do it,
Oh
so I
my
waited,
gosh.
man. And I got that game on Christmas and popped it in PS3. And I eventually did get like the save file corruption and the slow loading and all that stuff that plagued that PS3 version. But
Uh,
so I think that was one of my playthroughs all by itself. Was then I got the legendary edition on PS3 and I popped that one in and started all that fresh. So then I did 360, then I did PS4, then I did Switch, and I think I've even fired it up on PC just to see what it looks like. Skyrim's awesome. We should be playing Skyrim. Why are we even
oh
talking about
yeah.
games? Why do we even want next generation? We can just be playing Skyrim. We did try. My brother and I tried Elder Scrolls Online. I know that's their big hot money maker at the time, or for now. That
Hmm.
is their current Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls, because we didn't get a native Elder Scrolls this generation, did we? Last gen, we got Oblivion and
No.
Skyrim. All we got this generation was Skyrim ports and Elder Scrolls Online. But it just didn't.
Blades.
Yeah, oh God, forget about this. That's on Switch too,
Perish
isn't
the
it?
thought. Yeah.
Very mobile-esque in its
Hmm.
tactics. All right, is that all? Am I done waxing poetically on Skyrim and my Skyrim shirt? I
Yeah.
purge. We might need to compare later on shirt sizes because I'm getting ready to purge some more game shirts. But this one survives every one that I try to go through. I'm like, I can't get rid of my Skyrim shirt. I listened to the soundtrack today. I was really feeling it. All right, we got to move on from Skyrim. Sega is selling its arcade business, but wants more Atlas games on PC. There's a little bit of intricacy to this. I haven't read this exact news story. This comes from GameIndustry.biz and Rebecca Valentine. Sega Sammy sells arcade business Sega Entertainment to Ginda Inc. Company says arcades suffered due to COVID-19, expects extraordinary losses for fiscal year related to the sale. Which makes sense. And translate to the tune of $191 million. So I guess the big overall summary of this is you will not see the big Sega name plastered out on the actual arcades. This almost has nothing to do with us, correct? This is mostly a Japanese.
It's
Yeah.
mostly Japan.
We didn't have these to start with. This isn't going to affect the Sega games in Yakuza or Shenmue that are already in there. I'm not going to patch those out of your Dreamcast game. But and Sega will continue to make arcade games. They will just not be Sega retail outlets, from the way I understand the story. Is that what it sounded like to you?
Yeah.
I totally forgot the Sega Sammy was still together. Like, I thought once Sega kind of bounced back, they sort of took that mantle, but I guess that didn't happen. So what's the second part of that, Brent? You added that from Gamatsu.
So the second part, the Gamatsu article from Mr. Sal Romano, is that Sega wants to release more Atlas catalog titles through various platforms following the success of the PC port of Persona 4 Golden. And then Sega Sammy, president and CEO, it was during a financial results briefing on November 6th. As for Steam, while we have been actively releasing Atlas titles on PC, we felt that there was much potential there to put out a direct port of Persona 4 Golden for PC. And the users' response was far beyond our expectations.
Yeah, no shit.
So it's like Sega does this thing. It's almost like they stop themselves from making money.
Right.
Which is kind of
Right.
odd. Because they, from most of what I've heard about Persona 4 Golden on Steam, it's not something they really wanted to
Right.
do. It was just kind of...
Well, it was on a dead platform. You
it-
couldn't play it anywhere except for
Yeah.
Vita, and then the original one on PS2. So it was, I don't think I would have selected PC, but as far as like going out mainstream and getting it on as many platforms as possible, it's not a demanding game. PC was the best way to go.
Yeah. And you would think that with the success they saw, because I mean, it was within a couple weeks. I mean, it jumped to the top of the charts on Steam really quick. And you think after that success, they'd be like, well, maybe go ahead and start releasing some more stuff, or work to get Persona 4 Golden on modern platforms, or release it digitally here, there, whatever. But they really haven't.
Because they own that, as this article points out, they own that Atlas catalog. So they can dip into all those. Did Atlas do that Nocturne remaster that's coming out? Is that a Sega joint? Shin Megami Tensei. Cesar would know this one.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that's
Here's
Atlas.
a gap in our coverage. So maybe that's one of the first effects of this, getting all these things rolled out. I'm hoping, and this article specifically mentions Atlas stuff, but I want that Sega library from the Dreamcast somewhere besides PC. I want to see Crazy Taxi. Yeah, I don't want to be a Switch port beggar, but man, a Dreamcast collection on Switch with the Sonic Adventures are still stuck on there. Well, you can play Sonic Adventure 1 on PC, right? I'm not sure about the second one. Jet Set Radio is on PC.
And didn't they have Sonic Adventure on like Xbox Live? Like, wasn't it a
Yep, you're right. And it's
arcade
backwards
joint
compatible,
or
so that is still out there.
yeah.
But we went a couple rounds on the Dreamcast Mini a couple weeks ago, and I still think those titles will sell. So maybe that's something they can dip into as well.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, Sega kind of gets in their own way as far as making money. And then Nintendo seems to be on the opposite end of the spectrum where they could make like bukus and they try to purposefully knock themselves down.
Tamp it down. Yeah.
All right. Hope we get more Atlas games. Next up in news. Sony, is this the right story? Is this one you have? From The Verge, Sony confirms the PS5 won't support SSD expansion at launch. This is reserved for a future update. So as of now, you cannot pop M.2 storage into the back of your PlayStation. Can you do the regular USB 3.0s yet?
From what I've been hearing, it's not in this.
Games. You can't.
It's not in this article. Yeah. But from reviews of the PS5, early reviews, they were allowed to use USB 3.0 to play PS4 games.
That's been a known thing, just like the Xbox.
Yeah. They were not able to at least take and store PS5 games on external USB 3.0 devices, which may have been something to kind of try to prevent piracy or file dumping or cracking of the software or things like that. We could see a day one patch where they allow the USB 3.0 devices to be used like that. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Just so it's not a backdoor day one. And yet they sent me a USB adapter from my PlayStation VR that I'm sure the internet gurus are cracking away at trying to sync that thing to PC somehow. You know it's coming.
Oh yeah, they'll figure it
coming. Out. The interesting thing about this article from these early previews, we know that PS5 has that proprietary SSD. It's 825 gig storage, but all you get usable out of it is 667 gigs. So 1 gigabyte off of the devil's hard drive for the PS5. And those games, of course, fill up quite quickly. The Verge notes Sackboy Big Adventures 32 gigs, Spider-Man Miles Morales is 50, Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Launch Edition, which comes with Spider-Man Remastered, is 105, and Demon's Souls is 66 gigs, and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is 133 gigabytes. So I wonder if, like those, the PlayStation Plus collection, like God of War and Final Fantasy 15 and some of the ones I was talking about in the pre-show, I wonder if they count towards that USB 3.0 storage. I wonder if that's something you could file away. But you still wouldn't benefit from the fast loading of the PS5, I'm assuming. I don't know how that works yet. I don't think I've seen any articles specifically on that.
It's kind of up in the air right now. I don't think most people have done a deep dive because they're still keeping everything really close to the vest.
There's weird embargoes, right? Like we get these piecemeal allowances of all right, show this level. Don't show the UI. Okay, show the storage. Yeah. Still don't show the UI. Show one more level. Like you get these gated embargoes.
Yeah, people were getting the PS5s 2.5-3 weeks ago, and the most they could show was the box. Like they couldn't do unboxings. They couldn't do like anything.
Rotate all four sides.
You can show the box. That's it.
And then the last week and a half was just the Cooling Springs level of Astro's Playroom. I keep wanting to call it. It's not Astro's Playroom. What is it?
Yeah, it is Astro's
Playroom. Okay. Because there was Playroom that came with the PS4, and then Astrobot Rescue Mission, and now, it's Astro's Playroom. That is. We got there. We arrived there. PlayStation is also going to be certifying certain disk drives to add in there, because there's an empty M.2 slot. We don't know yet which cards those are that you can get. Cesar was telling me his Seagate Series X expansion is on the way. I'm not sure what he's planning. No, he did tell me what. He said it was a Lost Odyssey. He's going to put Lost Odyssey just on that expansion drive. All right, sir. I'm gonna let you take this one because hopefully your Mass Effect lore is larger than mine.
Uh, Not really,
No, you haven't played them.
but I've played. I think I remember playing a little bit of
Yeah,
one, but it was off-putting, and I know that that's just the way it controls and everything. It's not the best Mass Effect. I remember playing two. I don't remember a lot from it, and then I remember playing three. But then again, it was a long time ago, and I don't remember a whole lot from it. I remember the end causing a
it
whole lot
was
of controversy,
controversial.
but I can't even remember why. Because I remember playing it. I'm like, yeah, it's the end was okay, but then people just getting absolutely extremely mad about the
All right,
end.
your lore.
It's like, it
You
wasn't
know a
that
little bit
bad.
more than me because you've played a little bit more of them. I have started the first one about 5 times and just never gotten that far into it. So I'm hoping we're of course alluding to Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is a remaster of the original trilogy coming to PC and consoles, according to The Verge. Um, I've played the first one a couple times. I liked the RPG elements of it, but the ending that you're alluding to, you made all these decisions throughout these 3 games, and it funneled down into basically the same ending with different color codings. And it was such an uproar that
Mhm.
they ended up changing the ending and patching out certain parts of it. I don't know exactly what those are, but I'm sure Cesar could elaborate. But they did wrap it up and then change the outcome of the story. So this comes from The Verge, launching in 2021 for PC and consoles. It's going to have 4K enhancements, and it'll have enhancements for PS5 and Series X. And this news came out on N7 Day, which is November 7th. The Verge notes that EA had been hesitant on remasters in previous years, but following the success of Burnout Paradise and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, they are continuing on. Did you see that Hot Pursuit game is going to be like $24 somewhere? I don't want to
Yeah,
drop back to the Black Friday thing, but it was kind of off my radar. Like I've got 2 copies of the first one already on 360 and PS3, and I'm like, I
yeah.
could pop this in for $24.
Twenty-four
Yeah,
dollars.
it starts to
Yeah.
get in your wheelhouse. Then you're like, all right, I might could check this out. So, do you think this will be your entrance to Mass Effect? Like you'll have all these in one place and give it a go? Yeah, I'm in
Definitely.
the same boat.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, playing two and three, I remember really enjoying those games. Um, the ro- the funny, robotic shepherd dialogue was always
Yeah,
great. Um, but I really did enjoy those games. They were fun. Um, and like we've said, they're remasters. They're not remakes. So it's the same games that you've played. Just brand new, beautiful coat of paint. And I can't see any reason not to buy these
right.
games. I mean, they're good games, and it's going to be nice to play them on our new consoles.
Yep, especially after the misstep. The only true one we got last generation was Andromeda, and that was met with some
That was met with a lot of
hate.
backlash, not some.
And that's another one that they fixed, but there's never really praise for it. Like people who are big Mass Effect fans who you talk to about Andromeda, it's like, yeah, it came around. It got to the point where it was playable. And they did confirm that a
Yeah,
new
eventually.
Mass Effect game is in development as well.
Yes, they didn't really get too much into that. There was kind of just a little splash screen that
Hmm.
showed.
So look forward to 4K enhanced Mass Effect trilogy in 2021. All right, Google is giving away free Stadia gaming kits to YouTube Premium subscribers. Brant, were you one of these people?
I was not. I did not jump on the YouTube Premium bandwagon,
Uh,
but and it's so nice that Stadia is finally coming around and giving
free
away uh,
hardware.
giving away something.
All right, so I actually did take advantage of this. Oddly enough, and I noted this to Cesar, we were texting about it. I got the invitation to get this free stuff the same day I got my Amazon Luna invitation. So I don't know if they knew something
Oh,
was in the cards or. So if you had subscribed to YouTube Premium before November 6th, you are able to sign up. You get a month for free, but they make you start your subscription, which I'll be canceling immediately to make sure I don't get rolled into that. But if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, you can go on the link that's provided everywhere. Just Google it, you'll find it. They will send you a Chromecast Ultra and the Google Stadia controller. So hopefully I will be able to give some reviews of that next week. I'll try it out. We've notoriously shit on not the Stadia platform as a service. Like, it's never fit for myself or Cesar or even you, Brandon. I don't think there's been many Stadia stories since you joined us, but that has never really fit our gaming plans or how we felt like we needed to consume these games. We had a lot of the games that they came out with. There wasn't anything just like, a killer app, a must have. And hey, I'll try something for free.
And that's the thing is, like, it's interesting that, now they're giving these Chromecasts and the controller away for free when people that initially backed it, bought it, had trouble getting theirs.
Yeah.
And
had trouble getting their names. Remember, the name was like a big deal for a long time, and I got the same name I am on everything. On my Stadia setup.
But no, even if it's free, I will buy this, and you will too. We'll buy the same games on different platforms all day. But to buy a game on this platform digitally that I wouldn't ever truly own.
Nope. And you know me, part of signing up is the $10, their subscription or whatever, but the first month is free. You get free games with that pro membership. So I will definitely be trying out whatever's free in that catalog, whether that be Destiny or I think a shooter would be something fun to try, but it won't be anything I pay for. It'll be a demo of something or something that I can just fire up. And I am curious. I've never done the cloud gaming. I want to fire it up and see what it's like immediately. Well, I've done xCloud.
Mm-hmm.
So
xCloud was pretty
xCloud
good.
Was solid.
It had its moments where we could dip every now and then, but it really depended on your connection.
Yeah, you're able to still do it. You have an Android phone. You've been tempted to dip back into xCloud at all?
At some point.
It's time, just like everything else, right?
Yeah.
All right, so did they say when that promotion was going to end?
I'm looking, but I can't.
Their 1-year anniversary is coming up next week, according to The Verge. I do not remember Stadia being...
It's been a year?
I thought it just limped out of the gate. They must have been in early access for a while.
Yeah.
That's strange.
It's interesting. I mean, is this like you said, maybe it's to try and get support and get talk about it just because Luna's a thing and it's coming around, or hopefully this isn't kind of the Google
nail in the coffin.
The clearinghouse effect that they wind up having with a lot of their other ideas, where keep it around for a little while and then it just slowly goes away.
What do you mean, Brant? We're recording this on Google Glass in Google Hangouts. They do go through some ideas, though. We did it on one episode.
They do.
Before your day. We went through all the... Somebody has like a Google graveyard. They just list all these things that Google's killed throughout the years. So if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, check your email and get your free equipment. If nothing else, you're out nothing at the most. $10 if you slip up and let them charge you one time. Alrighty. Do you want to do this Game Pass Ultimate perk?
Yeah, so this comes from Tom Warren at The Verge. So Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can get a new little perk. They can get a free month of Disney Plus. So Microsoft is adding a free month of Disney Plus to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers this week. Obviously, it's good if you have kids.
Yep.
There's a lot of Disney movies, but then they've got a lot of the other IPs, of course, the Marvel movies and everything. And The Mandalorian is an awesome series. It's going on now this week. We'll have episode 3 of season 2, and so far season 2's just as good as season 1.
Good to hear.
And let's see, you need to redeem the offer by March 2nd of
You got a little
2021.
while.
And then once it expires, Disney Plus will be priced at $6.99, or and that's per month, or $12.99 for a bundle that also includes Hulu and ESPN.
Which is still a good bundle in of itself. They do know.
So that, oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that, and this is after they've added the EA games, and they just recently came to Game Pass, so that Game Pass just got flooded with a bunch of EA's IPs, and there's a lot.
It's a great catalog.
There's a lot
because I paid for EA Play 1 year. I just didn't get as much out of it, but now with it being added to Game Pass, that's a whole nother level. You've got Black on the original Xbox. You've got Dead Space. You've got the original the run of Mass Effect games. You've got all your not your absolute current FIFAs and Maddens, but I think the most current Battlefields are in there at least. Because the newer Battlefields, they just want to get you in that ecosystem. So it's another perk. I have taken advantage of the Spotify Premium 6 month. I did that with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And my 6 months trial just ran out, but I let it go. They got me. I let it go. I'm hooked. I'm in Spotify. Like, we're on Spotify. That's how I listen to our episodes when I go through them. And I love the sync that plays on everything. Like, I can be listening on my computer at work and then log off and pick up my phone and immediately hit, it's right there, right where I left it. And there's just some really cool features with it. The Verge notes you also get a free trial of Discord Nitro, Funimation, and Postmates Unlimited. And I cannot claim this joke. I saw this on Twitter, but someone mentioned they cannot wait until they can pick out their healthcare in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
You get a free month of
coming soon. Yeah, 1 month of coverage, or pill trials. That could get dangerous.
Gosh.
Ask your doctor about Xbox Game Pass and Physinica or some crazy.
If your Game Pass experience lasts more than 4 hours, consult a doctor.
Holy shit. That one's pretty good, man. We made a good bit out of that one. Alright, so Game Pass Ultimate keeps getting better. Even if Brant doesn't want the fun to stop. The Xbox Series X seems to have a disk drive problem. This comes from Polygon. And Patricia Hernandez, there are multiple videos of clicking, whirring, and more, she says. Seems like a lot of the systems just will not take a disk. And then as they receive it, it starts whirring really loudly. This happens. There was the smoke drama that people were freaking out because they were throwing their vape pens in there and letting them smoke out the top, looking like a smokestack.
Yeah.
But that ended up just being weird thing.
Yeah. Did you watch some of these videos? Because one of them's a Series S, and it's just making this weird, loud hum.
What is it doing out of the S? I didn't see that video.
It's the second video. Watch that second video on there.
I wonder if we have some good audio out of this one. I see all big boys on this story.
Yeah. The first one is just the first one's just an Xbox Series X. And it does a lot of clicking.
Oh, I hear it. That is the S.
A brand new system making this noise.
Make sure it doesn't say anything that does not represent the views of NOFODcast.
No,
man,
they're clean.
Ah.
Yeah, that's not a good noise.
It's not, but this is bound to happen when a new console launches. You're gonna have these weird one-off things that pop up, and this might just be its launch issue is clicking disk drives.
Yeah.
I was in retail when the 360 systems came out, and we had 4 total at launch. We had 2 of the Pro and then 2 of the Arcade. It just came with it didn't have any onboard storage. It might have came with a memory card, but you had to buy.
They did. They had those tiny little memory cards, like 512 megabytes.
You had to buy your hard drive separately for the Arcade version, but 2 of those came back. One of the Arcades and one of the Pros before Red Ring of Death. They didn't work. They got those things out of the door so fast. But then the problem is, like, this is going to happen. It is what it is. They're covered under warranty, that kind of stuff. It's because they're so hard to find right now. That's the frustrating part. You have all this buildup and excitement. You've been waiting. We were talking earlier about, tracking them and trying to see where they're at and waiting anxiously for the delivery. And then you get it, and it's like, and you've spent $500 something. You may have upgraded your TV, you may have bought extra games, controller, that kind of stuff, and then you have a lemon that you don't know when it's going to be replaced. You ever had a... Go ahead.
And so far, it does just seem to be the disk drive is what most of it does. I mean, except for that Series S that is making that bizarre noise. Man. Most of the other people, it won't accept a disc, or it will accept a disc and it doesn't recognize, it won't play anything. So, and this was also after we found out that you have to connect your Xbox to the internet in order to set it up, which was a big thing that they got dinged on last generation, that Sony just obliterated them on. And you can set your PS5 up immediately without an internet connection, but this, for I guess it was everybody trying to set up their Xbox Series systems up at the same time. Xbox Live went down yesterday, and people were just sitting there, and on the screen you'd have that little circle, and it would not do anything.
Basically bricked for the time being.
Yeah. And people were so upset. And I mean, it's understandable. I mean, yeah, you pay $500 something, like you're saying. You do all this prep work, spend all this money, and then you get this thing, and it doesn't work. But here's the thing: it's brand new. It just came out yesterday. We're all beta testers. Everybody that bought every single one, you're basically a beta tester.
The curse of the early adopter, right? More concerning, I did see this, and there was a lot of arguments online about it. We're kind of game preservationists on this podcast. We always push for consumer-friendly access to your content and licenses you've purchased, or how can you play the physical media that you've bought. We had that discussion about Stadia. Is it going to be around if you buy Assassin's Creed Valhalla on that platform? Are you going to be able to play that in 10 years in some capacity? But people were installing Xbox One X and Xbox 360 games, and if you set the system into an offline mode, within 10 minutes, it will tell you can no longer play that game. It is applying some sort of active DRM on the title that you physically own. You own that copy of Gears of War 2. You're just popping it in there to install it to the hard drive to play, even offline. And it is I don't know if that's something they're going to address, but it's funny, the comparison you made is what I was reading online as well. This is the Xbox One that they were talking about releasing. These are the type things that Don Matrick caught so much shit for in 2013, is presenting, how he presented that console and its features at the time. I still think it was a way ahead of its time as far as what it was going to do, but it was the attitude of having that online check and having DRM, and then the infamous, what about our people overseas who may not constantly have an internet connection? We have a product for you. It's called Xbox 360. So just anti-consumer things like that, and it's not out there yet, but that's going to start being the buzz in the next week or so when these things are found out by more people.
And that's the thing is, I mean, people that live overseas, people that live in rural areas that may not have the best internet connection, or they probably have that HughesNet crap. Yep. That satellite internet that works half the time.
Hey, maybe that's all it needs. Maybe it's just that one ping, and they'll let them play. It'll let them play Lost Odyssey in 120 hertz like Cesar's dreaming of doing.
But I mean, heck, what if some utility company's working outside and they clip your internet service, and you're like, well, whatever. I can at least play my Xbox, and then you go try and play your Xbox, and it's like, no, you can't play that title. Right. You're like, I got the disc in there, but it won't matter.
I promise.
Which I hope they address that.
You think that'd be set in there at this point as they go out for launch and don't need. You would think it would have been advertised But you see how advertising it got them last time, so I guess it's better to better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So Yep.
mission.
Then they'll just back up and say,
They-
all right, we've got the data to back it up. 98% of households have internet ready to go day one, and we have this set up for our other 2%. They'll have some way out of it.
Yeah.
I was hoping Cesar's is still being shipped to him. I was hoping he would have a couple impressions of it. But no, I know friend of the show Michael has his. He was playing Gears 5 on it, I believe. For some reason, they made Bautista Marcus Phoenix. Did you see that? We didn't talk about it in a news story or anything. Like, you can choose to change that Marcus Phoenix character model to Bautista, the wrestler, who was already a character. So I'm like, why would you blend these? Yeah, it's a funky... I don't know. I claim to be a Gears head, but I'm totally in it for the campaigns and Gears of War 2, River, Horde. That's it. Those are my jams on Gears. What else do we have? Is that it for news? We got one more story. You want to take that one?
We have one more story, and it's Take-Two buying
Codemasters
Codemasters.
of I'm trying to think what they're famous for. Dirt. There we go.
Dirt.
That was a bad segue. I'm trying to set you up for the article, but I was like, of blank fame.
So yes, Take-Two Interactive, publisher of 2K games, 2K Sports, and Rockstar Games
Yes.
titles, is buying Codemasters. And as you said, it's the people that made Dirt, Grid, and F1 Racing.
Yes. All that Grand Theft Auto money.
it-
Let us buy them.
They are spending $994 million in this deal. And it's expected to go ahead and go through the first quarter of 2021. And this was in a release this Tuesday. And they're going to be highly complementary to Take-Two's sports portfolio, is what they said.
I can see that. Fitting that racing catalog in there.
I mean, with Need for Speed and all these other games, kind of seeing this revival, I can see them maybe getting hold of these racing IPs, going ahead and doing the easy thing, and maybe re-releasing them as remasters, and then start having them work on some of these some new titles. So it's a good get, and they're a pretty good studio.
The good thing is it's third party too. They're not getting locked under like a Sony umbrella or a Microsoft umbrella.
No.
That way your Dirt fanship doesn't have to select their platform. They've been around a long time. They made 8-bit games on what does it say? I'm on their Wikipedia thing because I know they've been around for a while. The VIC-20, like an English 8-bit PC. They counterproduced the Nintendo Lockout chip, like Rare did.
Oh, wow.
They developed the Power Pack, which was later renamed the Game Genie, which we all know what the Game Genie is. Colin McRae Rally, which we know them for. Operation Flashpoint. Forgot they made that series. The Lord of the Rings Online. They made Overlord and Clive Barker's Jericho. A lot of people shit on Clive Barker's Jericho. Have you ever played that? It looks amazing. That was one of the first games I saw in HD that I was just like, this looks great. And that was on that was PS3 and 360, that era. Formula One, like you mentioned, they published some things with Majesco on the DS and the Wii, including Cake Mania 2 and Wild Earth African Safari. And that's about it. Oh no, that was up till like 2010. Oh, after that they just took off on racing stuff and one more Overlord game.
Yeah.
Have you played any of the Overlord games? The missus loves those. They're like they're kind of Pikmin-esque. You have minions for the Overlord. All right, so good get for 2K by getting the Codemasters catalog. Let me check my PS5 real quick and see if it's updated. This has been my game today. Nope, preparing order. Arrives Thursday, November 12th. I can't see how that could happen, seeing as it's almost Thursday, November 12th. We're 3 hours away. And you haven't even told me it's shipped. It just says preparing order.
Oh, no.
All right, sir, is that it for news?
That is news.
You ready to do games played? Just the two of us. It might be
do
short.
it.
Might be short.
Let's do it.
All right, I'll kick us off. I actually had a Halo-less weekend. I know everyone on the show is very disappointed to not hear any Halo updates. I was supposed to play Saturday night, and in my defense, I did at least fall asleep this time in my game room. I was asleep in the game room and unavailable for text and phone calls and Halo invites. So I was close. Man, I was just tired Saturday. But I did, I think I mentioned this earlier in the show, I hooked up PlayStation VR again for the first time in quite some time. And this is I actually picked up the model that it has the HDR pass-through. So it's the version 2 for the PS4 Pro and my Dolby Vision TV. And it works flawlessly. You just, you cut off the PlayStation VR box, and like I fired up Ratchet and Clank after that, and then I saw my HDR logo pop up, so the pass-through just works, man. And it sounds like you've gotten away from it too. Like, I know I haven't hooked mine up in probably been 18 months or so before I even did anything in VR. But I forgot how magic it is, man. PlayStation VR is just really freaking cool. It's hard for it to be accessible to a lot of people once you have it. I like the low cost and the fairly low barrier of entry, that sort of thing. But it's just so isolating. You have a family like I do, and it just, it's outside of just playing games where you're sitting there on a couch with a controller. You're locked into that thing. You're in the helmet. You got the headphones on. The version 2 has like a headphone jack in the back of it. But if you can commit to that immersiveness, there's no other experience, I don't think, that comes close to that. And the game that I tried out, and I had recently played it and recently had it fired up and loaded, was Star Wars Squadrons. So I'd played probably 2 hours of this outside of VR, just regular, going through the missions and things like that. I struggled with the controls are arcadey. They're not fully sim, but you still have to balance your pitch and your throttle at the same time. If you don't pull that throttle back, your turn is going to be super wide and slow. If you want a tighter turn, you got to pull back on the throttle pretty hard. Man, being in that cockpit of the X-wing and just being in there and looking around and looking up and down at your feet and watching the pilot do the shifting and all that kind of stuff. The controls, just the way the immersiveness works, where it feels like you're actually there and moving around. I had no issue with the controls. I even mentioned on the podcast, when I played the tutorial campaigns, I failed multiple times. I just couldn't do what they were asking. I couldn't put together where I needed to go and what the right thing to do. They're shooting at you, and you gotta roll and do all that kind of stuff. You feel it inside that helmet. Even with the I don't know if it uses the Move controller, so I was just using the DualShock, but you feel that control element, it takes over. And even the things outside of the actual flying of the X-wing, there's a mission briefing, and right before that you meet your 2 new squad mates, and you will look around in the hangar that you're in, and they're working on stuff behind you, and you look over there and they're lowering an astromech droid down into another X-wing, and there's just these things going on in the background, and they don't loop. It wasn't like an FMV playing in the background or something, where you would see these same little mundane, or a Skyrim guard, going back to Skyrim, walking the same, they all had these set things that they were doing, and I was in the hangar. I was there. And I didn't have to select a person or go to my droid or my X-wing or my mechanic or anything. I just watched and listened and looked around at sparks flying and people working in this hangar and stuff, and I was like, holy shit, I'm here. And I had done the same thing in the static game outside of VR, and it was nowhere close. And I already thought that game was a good value. I think it came out at $40, and it's already been $25 on Amazon. I think it's going to be $20 at Best Buy on Black Friday. But if you haven't done that, if you haven't played any of that one yet, Brant, that's a VR showcase, man. It's something else. Famously in Star Wars scenes, you'll have these briefings around a dial, and they'll have a hologram come up and give you the mission briefing and all that. Dude, I was there, and it's in VR. So if you lean in, if you lean out, the scope changes. You're at that table, and those change. And if you look to your right and there's somebody there, and it's just everything's to scale. It was incredible. I was hollering out loud. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I was flying and looking around inside the cockpit and stuff. I was back, man, and I remember raving about VR when we first got it and hooked it up, and we were doing all sorts of YouTube videos, and there's all kinds of content out there, and there's the AAA, I still don't think they've crossed into that AAA space. People tell us about Astrobot. We both gotta fire up Astrobot and try it out. But Star Wars Squadrons, man, I was in there. I was in that game, and it was awesome. I played 2 missions in that, and again, it was almost like I was playing a different game. It was just so much more immersive, and the controls made sense when you're looking around and you feel like the pilot will shudder and move, and you'll see the stars changing as they go into warp speed or whatever they call it in Star Wars versus Star Trek. But you see all those changes, and you're in that environment. It's just way more natural to control inside that environment. And I've always liked, like, when you first get one, you start going through all this content, all these videos and demos and that kind of stuff. To me, the best ones were the flying games. Like, there was a Call of Duty Jackal mission or something. Did you ever try that one?
Yeah.
That was great, wasn't it?
I do remember
it was
that one. That one was
awesome. And it was so short, and it was just this snippet, and you were like, man, if I got a full game like this, I would play the hell out of it. They did so well with it. And I think one of the Battlefronts had like a Star Wars VR experience branched off of it.
I want to say I think it was Battlefront 2. They added some VR.
Yeah. Or something you could download and play on the side type deal.
Yeah.
But this is more of a tech demo. This is the full game. From what I can tell, I picked up my campaign from when I was playing outside of VR. Like, I think the whole thing is playable. And this is the way to play it. When you get this game, you guys are a Star Wars family, right? Oh, yeah. You said you're watching Mandalorian. When you get this game, do not play it just on your TV. You'll be doing it a disservice. I got out of it. I took the helmet off, and I was just like, and I did get sick. I never get sick from the flying game. Something about the flying games feels right. Maybe it's because you're in the cockpit and everything else is moving around.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is too. But I took the headset off. I texted my brother. He's further than me in the campaign, and he hasn't played it in VR, and he has a VR also. And I was like, dude, stop what you're doing. I'm actually thinking about going back and playing those 2 prologue missions that I struggled with, and picking them up again, because they were a lot of fun. It was a really good introduction to that game, and playing those in VR, because the scale of those first 2 missions is very different from the 2 missions that I played. So it would be worth experiencing those things in VR again. It was awesome, man. God, it was good. And I'm thinking about getting, I can't remember if it was on stream or not when we were talking about it, but Astrobot is $10 right now on PlayStation Store, so I think I might pick that up digital. Blood, was it Blood and Money or Money and Blood or something?
What?
It's like it's the Getaway people, if I remember right. Like the London Heist from that demo. They made that full game. That's on clearance at the store you and I were talking about. Did you see it when it was on clearance? Because I went back after you by like 2 days, and I found different games, and I meant to ask you if you had seen those. I picked up Monster Hunter Iceborne for $10. Did you see that one when you were there?
No.
I got that for $10, and I got I'm going back in the morning, by the way, so I'll let you know. Wasteland 3 or Wastelanders 3. I thought I had all this shit in here, but now I don't see it. That RPG, it was $15. Mm-hmm. The one that's going to be the studio that Microsoft owns now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw like everybody's golf VR, and I almost got that, but I was
It's close to Black Friday price if I remember right. I think it's like 19, and I think it's going to be either 19 or 20 for Black Friday. So
yeah.
Do you like Hot Shots golf? Are you a fan?
I've played a little bit of Hot Shots.
Yeah.
I never got huge into it.
I don't know how it would work in VR. I can just imagine like Wii Sports golf, right? Isn't that what you would do? Is kind of, yeah.
That would be how I would think.
Damn, now I want to see it to see what it's like. I wonder if you have to do the move control. Yeah, I'll get 2 copies tomorrow. I wonder if you have to do the move controller, or if you can just live in that. You're behind them in the tee box with the goggles on and looking around and zooming in and doing that kind of stuff. I wonder if it's kind of. I got to look it up now. I kind of bypassed it.
I think most games support both. Yeah. Like, you don't necessarily have to have the move for a lot of the games. You can use just the DualShock. Yep.
They learned that early on to kind of adapt and not force people shoehorn them into the move controllers. Except for like Job Simulator and things like that require the...
Those, I love Job Simulator. Another one that's fun, that once we're able to have groups, that what we will have to play is Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
I heard that's really good.
That's a great game.
That's good. I think that's it for me. I didn't fire up. I still got Pikmin 3 in my backlog. My brother got it for me for my birthday, and I haven't tried it out yet. So I didn't do anything on Switch. I didn't do anything else on Xbox. Oh, I've tried to beat the one boss on Sly Cooper. I finally got the last 2 keys I needed to get to the second boss. Those bosses are hard in Sly Cooper. Like, you're playing, it's just a fun platformer. It's real chill. Just collect things. Do a couple jumps. I've unlocked the, you press circle to land on, like, these lit areas. So, you know, you kind of just jump in that vicinity and hit circle, and he floats where he's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And the boss is just like, it just turns on the difficulty. And the frog kicked my ass a bunch of times. And now this dog is really getting me. And I'm not even competing. Like, I don't know how to hurt him yet. I haven't figured out what the pattern is or how to wound him or anything. So I'm trying not to look it up, but my patience may run out on that one because I want to keep going and get to the next world. But Sly Cooper, man, it's a freaking... I'm playing it on PS2 and it's gorgeous. Like, this is still such a good-looking game. It holds up so well. But that boss is hard. The difficulty spikes on the bosses specifically are quite unforgiving. I don't know if you remember that from your playthrough, but... And I do want to play 2 and 3, so maybe it'll be something they iron out a little bit on those. But that's it. That's it for my games played, sir. You can knock yours out and we'll get out of here.
All right. Well, my games played...
6 visual novels. Here's the lore.
10 visual novels.
Here's the lore behind all of them.
No. I stayed on the GameCube for a good bit.
I hope you made me hook
just
mine
like
up
last
and
week.
Send you those 2 pictures.
And if I had a Xbox Series X, I would just be stacking it on top of there, since it fits perfectly. But no, I wanted to play something with the family, so we threw in a couple Cartoon Network games.
Okay.
One was The Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which it was a show that I watched as a kid, and the game is a brawler akin to Power Stone. So cool. I mean, you've got changing stages, you've got your different characters, there's items and stuff that are popping up, different wacky items like a freeze ray or a TV gun that shoots just screens, and then you collect these orbs. I think they call it like mojo, to build up a meter, and you can fill it up twice. First one just does like a regular like big combo attack on whoever you're facing. The second one, if you fill it up all the way twice, does a big special attack, which is just an immediate KO. And
does it hold up pretty good?
It's a fun. Yeah, it holds up pretty good. It's just wacky. It's out there.
If I remember right, I'm an old man now, and I'm forgetting a lot of things. This was a like GameCube, PS2, Wii. Like, this all came out at the same time. I think this was a Wii launch title that we sold, if I remember right, or really shortly thereafter, like launch window, just about. Do you have your case on you? Does it say 2006? I'd be curious, because I think that was in that launch window that we sold Wii games. Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, I do not remember the cases behind me here. I'm just looking it up real quick, seeing what
when it came out.
This is PlayStation 2, GameCube, Game Boy Advanced, Microsoft Windows, and Wii. Yep. 2006, September 25th.
September 25th. Okay, so the Wii one would have been like November 06-ish. I think that date was November 17th or November 15th one. Yep, that was a launch title. I remember these distinct periods very vividly. It's crazy, man. Like, and that night that Russell Cesar and I were up at the store going through all the launch titles, we popped them in one after another after we got them all in. Just amazed at like what the Wii was and holding the controller and everything. So do you get to play? There's three of y'all. Do you get to load up bots, or does someone pick like a computer player, or how does it play out with
I
all of
mean,
you
yeah,
playing?
you can set up 4 player because it's up to 4, and then you can set if you want bots and things like that. But it's we did 3 player. We didn't add any bots, but there's crazy stuff that happens, and like there's one level where it's one of the characters' houses, and as you're sitting there, you're fighting. Then all of a sudden, this giant Cerberus comes up and like breaks the house, and then it just stands there off on the side of the screen and breathes
Hmm.
fire. And you can actually, it's got like a seat on its back, and if you like jump on the house the right way, you can go over and get on its back and can kind of control it and have it shoot fire or try and bite one of the other
Oh, that's fun.
players. So there's all sorts of like crazy stuff that happens, and when you go, there's all sorts of game modes, free for all and stock, and then there's just some that where it's basically like King of the Hill, or you're trying to destroy the most targets, and all these different
Yep.
things. So there's all sorts of things to choose from, and if you don't like the way a stage plays, maybe in a later stage, you can actually pick when you go to a stage. Like when you do the stage select, you have the option to do all just stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. So if you just like what I
Oh.
was just talking about, if you just want it to stay at just the open front yard and the house, you can do that without having the giant Cerberus come through and mess up
cool.
everything. Or you can start at that point and just have the giant Cerberus breathing fire on everybody immediately. So it's up to you.
20 interactive
But
arenas. I'm looking it up. This is a high voltage game too. They make good games.
yeah, it's fun.
I bet that cell shading looks
Um,
good too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's held up pretty well.
Cool. It's like I would say hidden gem, but there's one retro game person who's kind of honed in on hidden gem and made it a little bit of comedy. Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
So other than that, we went to, like I said, another Cartoon Network game, also on the GameCube. We did the Teen Titans game. That one was also 2006. Came out GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox. And that one's more akin to like I'd say like a Baldur's Gate or something
Ooh,
like
go
that,
on.
where you have the 4 main Teen Titans. You've got your kids. You said you love the Teen Titans
Yep.
Go. I'm original Teen Titans. This
I see.
is my kind of
these
flavor.
are the OG ones.
So you start off the game, and at any time you can plug in a controller and press start on that controller, and another person can jump in as one of the other players. You can freely switch between any of them that you want. All of them have like a couple different attacks, like a strong attack and a special kind of move, and then a ranged attack. And then you can hold each of those buttons to do more of a different move, a specialized charge attack for each one of those. There's special like there's a big like super move you can do, but only if you get a certain item when it appears. But you go through, and like I said, semi Baldur's Gate style, where you have the different just colored circles under each player to indicate who's who. You're running around, the camera follows you around the space. You're fighting all these different enemies in the area, and then you just kind of keep advancing through and doing the story. And the story revolves kind of around
Robin.
the villain. Well, it's just the villains from the TV series, where I believe it was, oh gosh, I can't remember the kid's name. He's a more hefty fellow, and he does all the he's got the remote control, and I think he like sucks them into this video game that they're playing, and then you wind up having to go and fight all these different villains. So we played that for a good bit. That one's fun. That's one that we kind of just pop in from time to time and play a little bit of it, and then pick it back up.
I just looked it up because I thought I'd heard of this one. It's like $25-$30 on GameCube. This is one of the one of the low print Xbox games. There's a bid right now for $85 for Teen Titans on Xbox. It's one of the weird Xbox holy grails. There's a buy it now right now for Teen Titans for the original Xbox. That is $160.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. For some reason.
And this is a THQ joint.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game.
OG THQ. That was Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, which is the superior Teen Titans, as Brant will tell you himself. I just don't know this one. I think whichever one you come upon first is kind of the one you identify with, you know. And Go is more of a reboot of this one anyways, right? Like they kept some of the same.
Yeah. It's a reboot reimagining kind of thing, but
it's random as shit. It's random.
It is.
They do some random stuff.
And that was because we started out fighting each other, and then I said, hey, why don't we just play something where we all cooperate? Yeah. And then we popped in this, played for a little while. And then Katie had to hop off and go do something else. So then I popped in Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube.
Ah, that's where our picture came from on Instagram. I was like, where is this coming from?
Yes.
Soul Calibur.
And it's crazy because I've introduced my son. I don't know if I ever had him play Soul Blade. I remember I've shown him Soul Blade, but I know he knows Soul Calibur, and we've played it on the Dreamcast. And there's times he is oddly good at Soul Calibur.
It just clicks, huh?
It clicks for him. And Soul Calibur 2, he I think we wound up like I had 10 wins and he had 8 wins at the end of the day when we when we finished up, because it got to the point where like we just started playing around, because at first I had to get back in the groove of it, and he just started kind of like button mashing a little bit, but then he would start kind of putting 2 and 2 together and figure out what combos were what. And that was me. I would just sit there and I'd just be like, I've got it's muscle memory somewhere back in here. I've just got to remember exactly what buttons do what, and he's just over here button mashing and knocking me out every time.
Bring out.
Like, okay, just give me a second. I'll teach you how to play this game. But we had a lot of fun.
Does anybody play as Link on the GameCube?
Oh yeah. And I kept pulling out the arrow and then pulling out the bomb and throwing the bomb at his feet, and and then when he finally played as Link, he figured out the bow and arrow. He couldn't figure out how to change to the boomerang or the bomb, and I was like, "You want to know how to do it?" And I told him.
God, what a good game. That was so much fun when there were exclusives like that, where you got the characters that were specific to a console and it wasn't tied to like a pre-order. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that were pissed that couldn't get Link on it or something like that, but, you know.
That generation was I know that we got the GameCube got Link. Spawn was Xbox. What did PlayStation get?
Heihachi from Tekken.
Yeah. Tekken, that's what it was. And then all I remember was PS3 360 was Darth Vader and Yoda, depending on your Yeah.
They try to keep it going, but that was just such a, and then you could get either character with DLC, so that was that era. It didn't really matter as much. And if I remember right, the GameCube one was the best-selling version of that. Yep.
Oh yeah. And that was an amazing game.
It plays really well on Cube too.
and it still looks
You played all these on the
amazing.
CRT, I'm guessing, the Toshiba back there? No!
Nope.
You had them
No.
on the high def.
Yes, I had them on the 24-inch right here behind me. Because I've got, what's it, the Kaiko adapter for HDMI out, and it's great. Progressive scan.
Nice.
Right here to this HD. Yeah.
Makes it look pretty clean.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. That was that image I just took on my phone. I didn't capture it or anything. I took that picture with my phone.
Looks sharp.
It is.
Kaiko.
It's amazing. And then the last game that I've been playing all week, just to have something to fill the gap until Spider-Man gets here, was No More Heroes. I went ahead and bought No More Heroes 1 and 2 last week. Mm-hmm. I started last week, a week ago, and honestly, I could have been done, but I did not have a chance to play yesterday at all. But right now, as it stands, I am at the last fight, because if anybody hasn't played this game, you work your way up the ranks of the deadliest assassins. You start at rank 11, and this is just a very, very crass, very bloody game with a lot of character. It does not take itself seriously. There's a lot of love for a lot of different games and other things in here. It's a different game. It's more kind of like I guess if you'd have to put a game style on it, it's very kind of hack and slash style as far as the main game gameplay goes.
It's a Suda joint, isn't it? Is it a Suda game? Yeah, I thought so.
It is.
So you get that kind of humor.
And I am just under 10 hours into this game, and I mean I'm at the last fight, and the story isn't very long. The biggest part is your progress gets gated every fight, because you have to there's an entry fee in order to advance in the ranks. So you wind up having to do all these little mini games or different. In the game, there's a job postings place, and then there's kind of this assassination thing where you can go off and do side jobs. So you're either doing these mini games, or you're just fighting hordes of enemies where you either have to just use wrestling moves, or you just have to defeat a certain amount of enemies in a certain amount of time, or things like that. Or you're mowing grass, picking up trash,
variety,
cleaning graffiti. So there's a lot of variety, but it does once you figure out what makes the most money, you wind up just doing the same ones over and over and over. So that does get kind of tedious.
How do the controls work? Because this was an early Wii game that used the two. Yeah, so how does that work on this one?
And that's the thing, is I haven't really tested to see if the Joy-Cons have any of the motion control. They actually might, considering some of the other Wii titles that we've gotten on the platform so far. I've either played TV mode with the Pro Controller, or I have played
and it
in
just
handheld.
Works fine with
either way,
the normal button mapping.
Yeah, either way, I think that these may be the button maps for the PlayStation 3 version that we got. Okay,
I even thought those required the Move controller, so that it used DualShock.
I don't
pretty
think
cool.
So this is literally, I mean, you're just it's kind of normal controls. You have, both sticks. Left stick controls your walking, right stick controls the camera at times, or it's your kind of like a dodge mechanic. all the rest of the face buttons are your attacks. Then the triggers, well, it might be for your recharge, like the left left shoulder button is for your recharge and stuff like that. But the other things, because what you're talking about is when you went to recharge
your beam katana,
the control or your beam katana was your weapon in this game, and it had a battery. So when you would go to charge it, because it would have a battery on the right hand side of the screen, and as you would use it,
go ahead,
it would
Brent. I know
go
where
down.
this is going. Go ahead, Brent.
And so you would have to press the button in order to go into charge mode and sit there and waggle your Wiimote like crazy. And Travis does. He just sits there and waggles the
does he now?
beam katana handle right in front of him until it's charged. And
too funny.
So this one, all you do is you press the charge button and you wiggle the right stick back and forth. The wrestling moves were another point where you would have the nunchuck and Wiimote, and when you would stun an enemy, you can do a wrestling move, and they're just prompts on the screen, and it would be 2 different arrows, and they're usually facing, sometimes they're the same way, sometimes one's up, one's to the left, or something like that, and you would have to move them based on your based on what arrows with the motion controls in those the Wiimote and nunchuck. This time it's literally just mapped to the sticks, so you just use left and right stick. And
you're gonna end up wearing it out like you did your GameCube Resident Evil 4 stick.
Oh, and then it's same with the killing of enemies. Usually, once you've whittled the enemies down, it pops up with a directional input to where back in the day, you would just slice and finish the enemy off, which was always very satisfying. And while I'm having fun with this, and it does kind of, because I had a lot of fun with this game back.
This was like one of the first premier Wii titles after that first wave.
Yeah, I do feel like I'm losing some of the experience, because when I popped that title in and played it for the first time, and I did think some of the motion controls were a little stupid, but like the slashing of enemies to finish them off, and the person that is helping you through the ranks, or at least guiding you through the ranks, she's part of some kind of company that sets up these fights for you. She would give you a call before each fight, and that was the thing that just wowed me the most when this game first came out, because your Wiimote would vibrate, and then all of a sudden you would have to put the Wiimote to your ear to hear her call.
The speaker,
because there was that
so
speaker
awesome.
Just right in the, and when that happened, like I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of cool. It's calling me, and the Wiimote's vibrating like a phone, and then all of a sudden she starts talking, and it's not coming out of the TV. I can just kind of barely hear it, and I put it up to my ear. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was one of those that really set off that title for me.
Controller speaker feature kind of go. They did it on Star Wars Squadrons. I heard the astromech like making noises through the controller when I confirmed some things, and I was like, wait a minute, they still put that in games? Like that's a cool thing, I think.
Well, that PS5 will still have that have the speaker in the controller, and I know we've heard that in some of the show-offs of Astrobot's Playroom.
He's gonna chirp it. Playroom.
Astro's Playroom.
Astrobot's Playroom Rescue Mission VR, the PS5 launch title.
So, and I know we didn't. I didn't put it in news because I didn't think it was really that relevant. The HD Rumble feature. Somebody has plugged up the DualSense into their computer and programmed the DualSense to play. Was it like Doom's Gate or something from the original Doom? Just not through the speaker. just through
The
the
tension and the
haptic
feedback. Oh, that's
feedback.
cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So I mean,
Does it play Doom?
and
Technically, it plays Doom.
and I mean, heck, the Joy-Cons, they've had that. I believe it was Mario Party. When it's your turn, it makes like a little sound that comes from your Joy-Con, and Joy-Con doesn't have a speaker on it, and
Yeah.
it's just that motor. The way they've got it sounds like it's making like a little note, and it is. It's just that the way they
So
have it
few
configured.
people use the
So it'll be
Joy-Cons to their
interesting.
fullest. It's basically only Nintendo games, right? Do you think that some of the DualSense features
Yeah.
will be similar? For Astro's Playroom to be such a showcase for it, are we going to get another? Are we going to get, that's kind of a tech demo of sorts. It's packaged in there. I don't want to say tech demo because people are really enjoying the game, but it definitely is meant to
Yeah.
showcase the controller alongside, PlayStation history.
And that's the thing is, a lot of people are saying that's the biggest thing about
Right.
the PS5 is how much the DualSense really just feels next gen, how it puts them there. But the people that have taken the DualSense apart, the mechanisms for the adaptive triggers, if some of those parts were to break, that would be odd. But they've even shown off that you can go into the settings, turn it off. You can adjust the haptic feedback, the intensity, and things like that. And I'm wondering. I mean, we heard a lot about HD Rumble when the Switch first came out, and then once it just kind of fell off. And the same thing. I mean, the PS3 and the Wii had those little speakers in the controller, and after a while, and even the DualShock 4. I mean, I know Ghost of Tsushima. You use the wind. You can hear the wind blowing coming from the controller, but it was nothing I really
it didn't
thought
add
about.
to that immersiveness.
And it's just like back in the day when Rumble was such a new feature, and I go back to sometimes we pull out the Nintendo 64 and play on the N64, and I'll pop that Rumble pack in, and we'll play a couple rounds of GoldenEye or something, and I literally have to think about it the next time I play, because I'm like, did the batteries die in this thing? And then I start playing and I have to focus on it, and I'm like, okay, no, it is Rumble. It's just because it's been built into so many other controllers that it's not something I think about anymore.
It wasn't a standard back in the day.
It's just like I'm, I'm, playing Halo. I, got hit with the grenade.
Yeah.
Oh, I blew up. Yeah, my controller's gonna rumble. I'm used to it now. It's just kind of ingrained. I don't think about it a whole lot. So hopefully with as high praise as it's getting, it is revolutionary, and it's something that kind of stays, and it's not going to be that gimmicky kind of thing that a lot of these things wind up being, where it gets used for about a year or in a lot of first party titles, and everybody else is just like, I'm not going to do that.
Because I'm with you. It does seem to be the most next gen feature, and that's kind of what we're looking for, right? Is a new way to interact with games. Like I felt that way when the Wii came out. I felt like that was new. So, I had 3 systems that could play Call of Duty 3 when that system launched, and I got the Wii version because this was a new way to experience first person shooters. Did time tell that was the best way to play that game? Probably not. But that was a new, it was a new immersive way to experience stuff at the time, and some people learned what was a high voltage we were talking about. They weren't they the Conduit people? I get like High Voltage and High Moon and some of them all mixed up. I think High Voltage is the Conduit people, which is a highly rated Wii only. I think it's still stuck on the Wii first person shooter series. But time will tell on next gen. We're still waiting patiently. I'm assuming next episode we'll have impressions of both from Cesar and I. So, yep.
Hopefully.
We'll see where that goes from there. Somehow we made it an hour and a half, sir, with just the two of us. Just the two of us.
Yeah.
Do you got anything you want to add last minute here? No, we'll get it.
Nope. On Cesar's behalf,
Watch more anime. He's converted Brant. He's brought Brant back on board. So, what did we miss? Cesar wasn't there, so it's fine. Brant said watch more anime. You're caught up. We're good. All right. Thank you for joining the two of us this week, and hopefully we'll have Cesar back next week, and we will hope to see you there. Bye.
See ya.